So here's how we break down a chicken into a 10-piece country cut. First things first, we're going to have the chicken with the cavity facing towards us, and we're going to have the legs here. We're going to make 2 incisions, navigate a little bit closer towards the leg. Don't need to make a deep incision. And then we're going to pop the hips. We're going to flip it over, and if you bunch them together a little bit towards the spine, you're going to see we have 2 little mounds here. That's the chicken oyster. We're going to make sure we get that. So if you pull the thigh towards the spine a little bit, you're going to see that the oyster pops out a little bit, and it's going to help. So got that little oyster popped up. You can just pull away a little bit. So now we're going to remove the spine. The skin on the breast is very delicate. It's very likely to fall off when you're deep frying if you're not careful. So we just want to give it as much assistance as we can. I like to make an incision along the breast, and then again, this is the rib cage here, and the same on the other side. I'm going to keep the knife as far away as possible to keep the rib cage intact. So I'm going to cut downwards a little bit, and then pull back. That's going to expose the wishbone, the clavicle bone, and the neck. So then I just take the tip of the knife, punk downwards, same on the other side, and then that should free us with a chicken back, which is obviously great for stock. That's what we do with it in the restaurant. We turn it to bone broth, and we're keeping, again, it was cut very close. Have what was the head of the chicken facing us. We're going to remove the wings. Work around. Again, if you pull it back, you're going to see that there's a little armpit here. That's where you're going to put your knife, and it should expose the cartilage right here at the shoulder bone. You don't want to cut too deep into the breast. You just want to cut just around that there, and you just bury your knife to expose it, cut around the articulation of the shoulder. That's another wing. All right, and then in between here is going to be the keel bone, where we're going to split the bird in half. It's helpful and important to have a sharp knife at this point, so that way you're not dragging the skin on the board. If you drag the skin on the board, think about here. So right in the middle, in the keel bone, I just make a little incision, and then if you have a sharp knife, you can just push downwards and just gently pull the knife back. And then you're going to have 2 chicken breasts. All right, so we're going to start breaking it down finally into our 10 pieces. Okay, so we cut it on the 40-yard line on a bias through the rib cage. But cutting it on the 40-yard line on a bias because it's a little thicker towards one end than the other. So I just make a little incision first. Again, we're protecting the skin, and then push down, pulling away. Then you have 2 more equal pieces and push down, and then there we go. Our 2 wings, and then finally we're going to cut our legs. So right here at the joint, and if you get right in between the cartilage, you don't really need any pressure at all. It'll cut right through. And that is our drumstick, our thigh. Then we do the same on the other end. So here we have our 10-piece country cut, 2 thighs, 2 drums, 4 breast pieces with beautiful skin on them, and 2 wings.
It is more costly to buy chicken fillet, and you can still use the bones for soup stock in the future. The breast lying skin side down. Separate the bones and cartilage from the breast meat. Gently scrape meat from the cartilage and bones. Depending on the dish you're going to prepare, you may leave the skin intact or remove it for a skinless, boneless breast. Wasn't that easy? Now you can prepare countless chicken fillet dishes for friends and family.
Please cut the breast part of chicken from here. Remove the wishbone, and I'll show to you also what is wishbone. So this is the way to find the joint from the bone. So we are going to cut this one. It's connected to the wings in the back of chicken. After we give a little bit slice in the back of chicken, I'm going to remove the meat from the carcass. And if you see, this part is an oyster part, a very soft part, and the most of the people really like this part than breast part, especially for the kids. Then after, I turn it into my front and I start to undress the meat from the carcass. So after we remove the carcass little bit, we go to the leg part, nearby oyster part. Let's crack the joint like this so it can be easily to remove the bone from the meat. So we're going to remove all the carcass from the meat, and this is the carcass. You can reuse this one to make a soup, or you want to make a stocks for the sauces. It's up to you. Then our next step again is we're going to remove the bones of the leg. Just do it in the other side. And then after, you can start scraping. Scrape and scrape until the bones you can reach to remove. So this is how I remove the bone from the leg. Check this one. Then you can do the same thing with the other leg. It's up to you if you want to remove the bones from the wings. But for me, I remove it. Just check what I did. Do the same thing also from other side. Finally, we're done. So this is all the bones we got from the meat. If you just see what I'm doing, I remove some meats from the breast part and transfer into other part, just to make an even.
Tablespoons of butter. You could use olive oil if you prefer, but I like the flavor of the butter here. Add your veg now and saute them until the onions are translucent and softened. Just in time too, I might add. 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. You can use fresh here if you have it, but I think that dried thyme is something that you can easily keep on hand. But it's salt. And then the bread cubes go right into the vegetable mixture. Just moisten it lightly. You don't want it wet and soggy, but you do want it moistened slightly so everything comes together. And I'm going to use some chicken stock. I have 2/3 of a cup, but I'm going to start with about 1/3 of a cup. And then just see if I need to add more juices and get your chicken ready. I have a nice big 5-pound chicken, worthy of a Sunday dinner or a weeknight dinner. It's that easy. You slice and dry on the inside and the outside, and then season the inside with a little bit of salt. You can lift it up on its end and sprinkle it in. Then take your stuffing and stuff it inside your chicken. It's like a whole new world. Use a spoon, and to keep everything in place and make it cook really nicely, just tie the legs together. Is tucking the wing tips under so that they don't burn. Season your chicken really generously with salt before you put it in the oven. A nice coarse salt on the top of the chicken also looks really beautiful. Roast this at 450 degrees until it's 165 in the thickest part of the thigh, about an hour. You may need to tent it so that it doesn't over brown, but I usually don't have to. That is a thing of beauty. And it's easy enough for weeknight. but special enough for Sunday dinner.
This is a traditionally trussed chicken. Here's how we truss our chickens. String goes right down the center of the back. Pull it forward into his little armpits. Cross it around the front. This is not what you would do traditionally. I cross the string in front of the breast all over my bird. So I'm gonna make sure it stays there, just like that. Pull this guy back, and then you cross him, okay? You wanna make sure this goes under the crown here. Pull it nice and tight, okay? Under the leg, come around the back of the legs here, and then I'm gonna cross it again. See, it's starting to look all perky. So I'm actually wrapping around the knees of the bird. Flip them over. Cross once, twice, 3 times. That way it doesn't slip. Tie it off for good measure. That's our bird. He's nice and pretty.
Number 1. Cook your poultry either by dry heat or most heat. Choose the right age of poultry suited for any of the 2 methods to get the best result. For intense young tender poultry such as broilers and fryers are good for dry heat such as barbecued, fried, or roaster. For moist heat method, stewing the chicken or rooster is appropriate, although all other types or classes can be stewed, steamed, or cooked with sauce. A well-cooked poultry is a good presentation in itself.
Choose good quality ingredients that go well with your poultry dish. Good quality means the ingredients are fresh, prim, bright in color, and well defined in shape and texture. These ingredients may include different vegetables that are added to your chicken dish. Remember, the chicken should be cut uniformly and serving sizes.
Number 3. Cook the chicken just to the right bite and your vegetables should be crispy, not mushy or limp. This gives the appearance of a well-executed, newly cooked dish that is attractive and appetizing.
Number 4. Choose the right container for your chicken dish. This can be a platter or tray made of silver-plated or stainless steel, ceramic, glass, or porcelain. The container should be spotless clean with no spots, cracks, or chips around edges, and preferably of neutral color to avoid competing for attention with the dish. Flat containers are appropriate for dry heat recipes, while shallow containers, bowls, or porcelain casseroles are good for moist heat recipes.
Number 5. When arranging the poultry dish on the platter or tray, arrange the main ingredient at the center of the platter or tray, then work your way around this with your accessory ingredients. Create balance through an interplay of color, shape, and texture.
Number 6. Use garnishing to add to the attractive and appetizing appearance of the dish. The garnishing should be supplement or complement to other ingredients in the dish. As much as possible, garnishing should be fresh and edible. Remember to decorate with restraint. The garnishing should not be too much as to over-decorate the dish. The goal is to present a simple yet elegant dish. Thank you.
Maraming tanong pero walang sagot.
Yes.
Choose good quality ingredients that Mami Oni.
Can be a plate.